drop in and opt out. I'm Derek J. You're listening to Peace News Now, the best daily 5-minute report on the growing peaceful evolution around the globe. Today is Tuesday, January 29th, 2013. Here's what's happening in the world of peace. Ambush interview rock star Jason Matera captured some video gold last week when he asked Mayor Michael Bloomberg of New York if he is willing to disarm. As the video shows, Matera is physically blocked from approaching Bloomberg by a staff of at least 5 armed goons who play defense for Michael as he scuttles into a limousine to avoid further questioning. His response to Jason's perfectly valid question of, "Are you going to disarm?" is, well, we'll get back to you. "We'll get back to you" is classic politician speak for "go away while I avoid accountability," and is often followed up by harassment by government thugs. In this case, when the interview was over, Jason was followed and hounded by a large, intimidating man with a shaved head and dressed in plain clothes, who claimed, without showing identification, to be an NYPD police officer. The intimidating man in dark sunglasses ordered Jason to show him his press credentials and then show him ID to match those credentials. When he took out a pen to write down Jason's information, Jason asked, "You're gonna write this down? What crime have I committed? Is this standard procedure for NYPD to intimidate and question members of the press?" The officer said yes, apologized, and immediately returned the pen to his pocket. Later, however, he continued to follow Jason and demanded to know his date of birth. Jason ignored the man, insisting that he had no right to collect that kind of private information. I want to applaud Jason Matera for his excellence in courage, eloquence, and bold attitude. I've watched with excitement as he has ambush interviewed dozens of political figures, often asking questions and challenging liberal politicians from his conservative background. Ambush interviews, despite the name, are entirely peaceful means of collecting information from people who purport to be public servants accountable to the people, but in reality often work tirelessly to evade public scrutiny. They sometimes can result in candid answers to important questions, but as in this case, they often result in footage far more interesting than a simple yes or no answer. In this video, Bloomberg's true colors are on display. He wants you to be disarmed, but it's okay for him to have 5 armed guards in his immediate vicinity. Bloomberg doesn't have to answer a simple question, but his goons can intimidate members of the press and demand information from the public. But Derek J., doesn't the Constitution guarantee freedom of the press and right to bear arms? As Lysander Spooner wrote over 100 years ago, whether the Constitution really be one thing or another, this much is certain, that it has either authorized such a government as we have had, or it has been powerless to prevent it. In either case, it is unfit to exist. Are you tired of the US government killing people around the world? Are you tired of having to pay for their murderous rampage? Are you tired of feeling helpless to do anything about it? Well, now there's something you can do. It's called Bitcoin. Bitcoin is money that is impossible for the government to control. Bitcoin is impossible to be counterfeited or inflated. Bitcoin is simply a peer-to-peer protocol, so it is impossible for anyone to shut it down, block it, or control it in any way. If you want to see an end to the government inflating the dollar to pay for murder, then you need to start using Bitcoin today. To learn how, visit weusecoins.com. Last week, 2 students in Rochester, New York scared off a pair of home intruders by simply brandishing an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle. One of the students said he believes the weapon saved their lives, but those guns would be illegal in the land of the free if the Feinstein Amendment were to pass. As the war of words continues, propagandists in the legislature are busy at work renaming tools in an effort to confuse you. As George Orwell wrote in his book, 1984, quote, "The great enemy of clear language is insincerity." This was never clearer than in the modern-day discussion of assault weapons. The Department of Homeland Security just purchased over 7,000 semi-automatic rifles with the ability to hold 30 rounds of .45 caliber ammo. If you were to hold one of these rifles, the DHS would call it an assault weapon. If the DHS holds the same rifle, they call it, quote, "a personal defense weapon." They don't call it semi-automatic. It's select fire. And in case you had any fears that they were purchasing these weapons for NATO forces to be used against peaceful Americans, fear not. Because according to the DHS, these tools are, quote, "suitable for personal defense use in close quarters, just not for your personal defense." That's all the time we have for today. Links to these stories can be found in this episode's show notes. Remember to subscribe to PNN on YouTube and iTunes, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter. If you enjoyed this episode, share the piece with your friends. For PeaceNewsNow.com, I'm Derek J. Peace.